Hey, what's up guys? Part 12, main tuning and accuracy. We're going to be going over this kind of panel section here. We're going to be leaving out the arpeggiator because that's another video. So, tuning. So what does that mean? That's basically your tuning. So we have vibrato, which is how the oscillator will fluctuate in pitch, and you can hear that now. Best example, just to hear it. You'll hear that it kind of went up, and that is with glide. Now glide is when you hit one note and then you hit another, the pitch tracking will take a while to kind of catch up, and you can hear that now. Right? And the glide amount, or the glide, the rate is adjusted here, and the range is adjusted here. So a lower range, it's instantaneous. And with a higher range, it takes a while. And there's two modes, rate and time. And I had this written down. There's a difference between them. So time is basically however far apart the notes are. The portamento time takes the same amount of time. Right? These notes were close together. And they take the same amount of time, especially if they're really far apart. It takes the same amount of time for the pitch tracking to get there. I'm wearing gloves, by the way. Oh. Right. Time. With rate, it really depends on how close the notes are together. So if you have two notes that are really close together, it's instantaneous. Right? But if they're really far apart, it takes a little while. Right? And that's just another mode, and it's based off pitch tracking circuitry. Fine tune is here. You can fine tune, so you can kind of emulate the synth kind of, if it's old, if it needs to be serviced, or if it needs, to heat up, or if it's hot, and it just goes out of tune when it's hot. Right. Actually, I'm gonna turn that off. Right. There's also transpose, so you can easily transpose it down an octave if you're stacking divas, if your computer can handle that. And your pitch bend amount is adjusted here. And that's pretty cool. Microtuning we'll get into later, hopefully. It's a file that you can load, and it's a little convoluted, and we'll get into that when we get into trimmers, hopefully. Our amplifier and pan section. Amplifier is always controlled by an envelope, which is this one. So when you hit a key, it's triggering this to kind of do its thing to the volume, and this is the amplifier envelope. I can also turn that to a gate, right, or just envelope 1. I cannot turn it off. If I turned it off, then we'd get no sound, which would be sad. We can also modulate the volume with another source, be it LFO1, the mod wheel, pitch wheel, and velocity. So that would make sense for velocity, and a bunch of other random things, including random. Pan it's two pan pots here. It's hard pan, or there's no modulation of this pan. You go left or right, or you can modulate it with LFO2 for a nice effect. Down here, legato, and this is legato is like a single note, but it goes up and down with our glide modes, so that's kind of cool. Poly is more than one, right, which is something the MIDI mode could not do, play more than one note at a time. And your voices here, you can have up to 6 voices or 2. So this is like a dual monophonic, only 2 voices at a time, so only 2 keys at a time. Mind you, when your note is kind of releasing, if it has a longer release and you hit 2 more notes, you're actually taking up 4 voices. So to keep that in mind. The note priority, it will this is like note stealing. So if you're running out of voices, the new note will completely cancel out the release. So it's a priority list. So the lowest and the last priority, you can kind of figure it out. So if there's a release, it'll steal that away. A lot of modern synths, well, but not modern, but a lot of digital synths did that. They had note stealing, and you can emulate that. So we'll go back up to 6, and I will go, mono. There's mono and duo. Duo is 6 voices, so or 2 voices. No, it's 1 voice, but the release will be preserved as you go up and down. So it's a mono mode, but there's duo, so the release will be preserved from your last note. And poly 2, oh boy, what does that do? I am the worst. I'm not sure what that does. But yeah, just for the sake of beginning, mono and poly. Mono is monophonic. Poly is polyphonic, which is more than 1. Here's your voices here. It's mono mode, but why do we have 6 voices when we can't play 6 voices? Well, we can stack them. This is unison, and this is basically timesing our synth by 2 or 3 or 4. So you're basically having multiple divas stacked. So if you have 2 stacked, you have quite a bit of stacking. Like a fatter sound. There is, as far as I know, no unison spread. There should be. I'm not sure what's going on there, but you can stack them, and that's unison. Unison is basically volume. So you have accuracy. Accuracy is the amount of intensity your CPU will be going through. So draft would be a lower kind of accuracy. That's down into the circuit modeling, and divine is basically the highest quality you can possibly get. For some synths, typically the dual VCO and dual VCO and the DCO, these have a very different sound depending on draft and great and divine. Well, like on the lower settings, it has more kind of bite. And you may want that. You may want that kind of harmonic content. So you'll want to keep that. So offline accuracy would be how you would render. So same would be the same as the accuracy you're working on in your actual project. So say if you want fast, and with fast you get a particular sound you like, and you have it set to best, when it renders you'll get a completely different sound. So just kind of keep that in mind. There's nothing wrong with using, a quote-unquote poor accuracy for the synth. You can get different kind of sounds with it, which is cool. But yeah, typically I use divine, and I have my offline accuracy, which is what I render, to best. Best is divine. So yeah, you get the best absolute quality rendering this out. Multi-core support, if you have a computer made after 2000 or 2004 or whatever, when the duos came out, you should be using multi-core. This hasn't caused any problems, they say, but you should just use this. And it spreads the work across multiple cores, which is cool for something as this crazy as DIVA. And that is basically it for tuning and main and accuracy. Yeah, I just want to point out accuracy and the arpeggiator we'll get into, and that is the main page, and we'll be back.